Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to draw those two cute mushrooms. Let's start. Let's make a new canvas, A4 canvas from Procreate. Rotate it this way. And here's a color palette I'll be using. You can download it, link is in the description. And first we're going to do the sketch. We can grab any color. Let's take a gray color here like this. And let's take the brush for sketching. Go to sketching, and I'm going to use here 6B pencil. My brush size is 27%, and we can start sketching our bigger mushroom. Let's draw kind of like a potato shape like this. Here he will have two legs, so draw two small circles. And now let's draw his cap. Start with a line going across like this. And now we're going to draw here an oval shape like that. And we're going to close it on top, like this. By the way, this sketch is also attached in the post, it's together with the color palette, so if you don't want to sketch your own, you can just use my sketch. Let's draw here now the spots on the cap. So I'm just drawing some irregular shapes like that. Some of them will be poking out here. And maybe one more here. And now we can draw his hands. Just a simple shape like that. And his face. So two small dots like this. And for the mouth I'm drawing something like that. And then he'll have here cheeks. I want to move this cap a little bit lower. I'm going to use the selection tool. Here at the bottom I have freehand option selected, and I'm going to turn off the color fill. Now I'm just going to select it like that, close the shape, and I'm going to use the arrow tool to move it down. This way he'll be a little bit more chubbier and cuter. Okay, let's tap here to finish. And now we can draw a small mushroom here next to him. So something very similar. And let's draw a small face for him. And they will be sitting here on a little hill. Let's also add here the gills for the mushrooms. And now we can just adjust the size of this on the canvas. We can take the arrow tool, and I'm going to make them a little bit bigger and place them more in the center of the canvas. Okay, now it's time to move to the colors. We are going to change the blending mode of this layer. Let's set this to multiply, and let's turn down the opacity of this. Let's make it 43%. Now we can make a new layer and start drawing the outline. Let's move this layer under the layer with the sketch. I'm going to start with their bodies. Let's change the color. Take the first one here. And let's change the brush. Let's go to calligraphy and take monoline brush. Let's make the brush size 35%. And we can just outline first this mushroom. His face I'm going to draw later on a new layer. For the smaller mushroom, I'm going to change the brush size. I'm going to make it 13%, and I'm going to outline it the same way. Now, before we move on and start adding outline to the other parts of the mushrooms, we can color this. It will be easier to see what we are doing. So to do that, let's open the layers and let's change this layer into reference. So tap here and pick reference. Now let's make a new layer and put it under the layer that is reference. We're going to change the color. Take this one and just drag and drop it in there, like this. If you are enjoying this video so far and would like to draw more of me, please check out my Patreon where I have more tutorials like this. Link is in the description. Okay, now let's turn off the reference here. So tap here and turn it off. And we can outline their caps. Let's make a new layer for this. And we have to move this layer here behind the mushroom body, because we are going to make here an ellipse shape and we don't want to see this part of the mushroom that is behind his body. Let's change the color. Take this one. And since I have the smaller brush, I'm going to start outlining the small mushroom. So I'm going to draw here an ellipse like this. I'm holding my brush here on the screen to make this a nice ellipse. And now I'm going to outline the top part. And the same for this one, but I'll make the brush size bigger, 35%. Now we are going to do the same thing that we did a moment ago with the mushroom body. So we have to change this layer into reference. And we can make a new layer and move it under the layer with the reference. Let's change the color. Take this one and let's color the top part of the caps. This part I want to color on a separate layer. So let's make that layer. And let's change the color for this. Take this one and drag and drop it there. Now we are going to outline the spots on the caps. Let's open the layers. First we are going to turn off the reference here. And let's make a new layer. It should be on top of the cap. Let's change the color. Take this one. And with a bigger brush, 35%, I'm going to outline these ones. And now with the smaller brush, 13%, let's outline these ones. Now we can turn this layer into reference. And we can make a new layer, place it underneath that one, change the color to this one, and color all those spots. We can use here this option, continue filling recolor. Now we have here this plus, that we can just move into spots we want to color. Okay, let's stop here to finish. And now we can maybe draw the grass. Let's turn off the reference here. Let's make a new layer and move this all the way to the bottom. Let's change the color. Take this one. Let's make the brush size bigger, 35%. And just draw here a line like this. And now with the smaller brush, 13%, we can draw here a few grass strands like this. And to color this, we can make a new layer, put it under that one, change the color to this one, and here we can just manually draw that shape again. And color this inside. We are going to fix this shape later. Now we can start adding some details. let's draw those lines here under their caps. So let's go to this layer here, and let's make a new layer above it and set it to clipping mask. This way those lines that we're going to draw will be visible only on this layer that's underneath it. Let's change the color. Take this one. And we can just draw those lines now. We can also draw here some small spots like this. It will be more interesting this way. And now for the smaller mushroom, we are going to make the brush size even smaller, 7%, and draw those lines. Now let's draw their faces. Let's make a new layer for this. Let's do it on top of the outline for their bodies. Let's change the color. Take this one. And let's just draw here like this. I'm holding my pencil here on the screen and I'm going to put my finger here to make this a perfect circle. And now same here. I'm going to use here this edit shape to move this a little bit. More here. Now I can tap with my finger on the screen to finish this. And I'm going to draw here a mouth like this still. Let's color those inside. And now we can change the color to color the mouth and the cheeks. Let's take this one. We can draw here small ovals for the cheeks, like that. And here bigger ones. And I can just drag and drop the color here for the mouth. Now to make this even more cuter, we are going to draw here 3 lines. Let's change the color, take this one, and draw 3 parallel lines like this. Now we can turn off the sketch layer, we don't need to see this anymore. So let's just tap here. And we can still add some white spots in the eyes. Let's take the white color, here, and draw small dots in the eyes. I'm going to fix this one first, it doesn't look so nice. Now we can start adding some shading to it and more color. Let's add a small gradient on the bottom part of the caps. Let's open the layers. Go to this layer here. And let's make a new layer above it. And actually, we are going to move this layer above those lines. We want to also add some gradient to those lines. And this layer, as you can see, is already set as clipping mask. We want to keep it this way. Let's change the color. Take this one. And let's change the brush here. Let's go to airbrushing and take soft brush. Let's make the brush size 9% and just add this gradient very softly here, like this. And same here for the small guy. Let's make the brush size smaller, 5%. And now, as you can see, it covers our lines. We have to change the blending mode here. So let's tap here, and we're going to set it to multiply. Now, before we move on and start adding shadow and light to the mushrooms, we can still play a little bit with the outlines. I want to change the color in a few places on the outlines. Let's start with the body. So let's tap on the layer here with the outline for the body. Tap again and pick here Alpha Lock. This way we are going to draw only on the shapes that are on this layer. Let's change the color now. Take this one. And I want here to color those parts that are kind of touching the cap part. So I'm adding here very lightly this color. And same here for this guy. I'll make the brush size smaller, 3%. And now we can do the same for the spots. So let's go to that layer with the outline for them. This one. Set it to Alpha Lock. And with the same color we have now, we can just maybe color here the bottom parts of this, just a little bit. That will be enough, and now maybe let's take care of that grass. So let's go to the layer with the color for the grass. This one. And I just want to soften this. I'm going to erase this a little bit. Let's take the eraser, tap on it again and set it to soft brush. And here with the brush size 8%, we can erase this part like that. So there is no harsh line here. And now one more thing before we start adding light and shadow, let's change the background color. So let's open the layers here, go to the background color, and let's take this yellow one. Tap on done. And now let's make a new layer above this grass to add the shadow on it. Let's set this to clipping mask. And we are going to change the blend mode of this. Let's set this to overlay. Let's change the color. For adding shadow, we are going to use here black color. Let's make the brush size 6% and just add it here like that to the back of the grass and now under the mushrooms. Now we can just turn down the opacity of this layer if this is too dark. So let's go here and maybe I'll just turn it down a little bit. I'm going to make it 75%. And now I can still add some more color here right under the mushroom. Now let's add some light here. Let's make a new layer for this. Let's set it to clipping mask. And here also we are going to change it to overlay. We can change the color now. Let's take this one. And for this we are going to change the brush. Let's go to calligraphy and take monoline brush. Let's make the brush size 35%. And I'm going to add this light here by the outline line, like that. And maybe somewhere here by those grass parts. I will also draw a few new lines, just to make it more interesting. And this is a little bit too strong, we can turn down the opacity of this layer. Let's make it 45%. So now we are going to use the same method for each layer to add the shadow and light there. We can start here with the cap. So let's go to this layer here with the gradient on it. Let's make a new layer above it and set it to clipping mask. Let's change the blending mode for this to overlay. And let's change the color to black We'll start with the shadows. And we can add the shadow under the cap here, close to his body. I'm going to make the brush size bigger for this, 100%. And don't worry, if this is too strong, we can turn down the opacity in a moment. And now for this guy. Let's do it like that. Let's turn on the opacity of this layer. Let's make it 50%. Now let's make a new layer for the light. Set it to clipping mask. Change the blending mode to overlay. Change the color. This one. And here I'm going to add the light close to the edge, like this, on top, just to brighten it up. And same thing here, like that. And this will be enough light for this. We can maybe turn down the opacity just a little bit. Let's make it 90%. And now let's move on and add the light and shadow to the spots on the mushroom. So let's go to this layer here. Make a new layer above it. Set it to clipping mask. Change the blending mode to overlay. And let's take the black color and draw the shadow. I'm drawing it on the bottom part and left side of those shapes. And same here. Let's turn down the opacity of this layer, make it 90%, and now let's make a new layer for the light. Set it to clipping mask, change the blending mode to overlay, change the color, and let's add the light here on the opposite side of the shadow. Okay, let's turn down the opacity of this. Let's make it 57%. And now let's do it for their bodies. So tap here, make a new layer above it, set it to clipping mask, change the blending mode to overlay, change the color to black, and let's draw the shadow here like this. And now I'll make the brush size smaller, 13%, and I will draw the shadow here under his arms. Let's turn down the opacity of this. Let's make it 56%. And now a new layer for the light, set it to clipping mask, set it to overlay, and take the color for the light. Let's add the light here on the hands. A little bit on his legs. And now I'm going to make the brush size bigger, 100% again. And I will add the light here like this. Let's turn down the opacity of this. Let's make it 45%. And here I want to brighten his belly too. I'm going to change the brush for this. Let's go to airbrushing and take soft brush. And with the brush size 6%, I'll just draw a small circle here like this. And a little bit on this one too. Now let's go back to the monoline brush. And let's make a new layer above the caps. So let's go here. Make a new layer. Set it to clipping mask. Change it to overlay. Let's take the black color. And let's draw the shadow here on the mushroom cap. And now under every of those spots, I'll make the brush size smaller here, 13%. And let's add the light. So let's make a new layer, set it to clipping mask, change it to overlay, take that color for the light, and let's add the light on the caps. Let's make the brush size 100% again, and I will add the light here like this. And here like that. Now I'm going to turn on the opacity of this. Let's make it 53%. And this light is affecting here a little bit of that shadow. We can see how this will look if we put it under the shadow layer. It's a little bit better. I'm going to keep it this way. And now this illustration is finished. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope you can share your drawing with me on my Instagram. I would love to see it. And now I have a special shout out for my big fan supporters on Patreon. Thank you so much for being there with me. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye!